What happens when you take the speed of cybernetic ninjas, the combo ranking of a stylish action game, and throw it into a roguelite? Honestly, you get something pretty interesting. This is Morbid Metal, an upcoming roguelike that blends the elements of Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Rising, and even Hades into one fast-paced, shape-shifting combat experience. And after getting early access thanks to Ubisoft, I've got some thoughts. At its core, Morbid Metal is a roguelite. That means each run is procedurally generated, you got an upgrade system between attempts, and yes, dying sends you back to the very beginning of the game. If you played something like Rogue Legacy or Hades, you already know what's the deal. But what makes this game stand out is how it doesn't feel like traditional roguelites once you actually start playing it. Because run to run, this is a full-on hack and slash action game. The combat is where Morbid Metal really shines. You're not just playing as one character, you're playing as three, and you can swap between them mid-combat during a run, and each one of them has a different playstyle. Flux is going to be your starting character who has a fast, precise, and samurai style of combat. It's going to use quick slashes and clean combos to take out its enemies. And a lot of its combat is going to be a very get in, get out kind of damage dealer. This is meant to be your intro character to the game's rhythm and how it's going to play. Later on in the game, you're going to unlock Eku, who is more of a heavy fighter style of combat. He is slower, but of course he does hit much harder using his heavy Naginata style axe. And the biggest part of his kit is that he can launch enemies up into the air and stun them. His kit is definitely meant to be a combo starter, whether it be jungling them in the air or chaining combos while they're stunned on the ground. And finally, there's Vecta, who acts as more of a crowd control kind of character. While not unlocked until the second area of the game, its kit focuses on area control style skills, like pulling enemies in or pushing them away, and being able to affect large groups of enemies at once. But I did mention earlier that you're playing as three characters at once in this game, and that's where every single one of these kits clicks together. You're going to be chaining their skills, their attacks, and everything in between, using the shapeshift system that you'll be introduced to, making every single stage feel like a different battle every single time. A typical run looks like this. On your first attempt, when you die, and you will die, trust me, you will return to the Void. This is going to the main hub of the game. Here you can get permanent upgrades for your characters, switch up your loadout, get new corpora, which are upgrades you'll see throughout your runs, test your endurance and builds in the training area, and learn a little bit about the world you're playing in via lore files. Once you've completed everything you needed to do at the Void, you'll head out and start a new simulation with this latest iteration. And in each new simulation, you will start from the very first area, trying to reach the end of the game. While doing so, you're going to fight through procedurally generated areas with varying types of enemies, and after defeating them, you'll be given options to upgrade your characters, called routines. These routines can be universal or tiered to a specific character. Along the way, you'll also run into two different room types. One will act as a loot area where you can find void matter, which is a currency you need to get upgrades, health, nanochips, which are used for the mid-run hub, or repositories. Now, these repositories are going to have either different skills or even upgraded versions of skills. So you're going to want to check every single one of them to hopefully get better versions of your skills or skills that suit your playstyle better. The second area type you'll find are called trials. In these, you'll have to face a gauntlet of different types of challenges. And while really difficult in the very beginning, if you're able to succeed and win one of these gauntlets, you'll be rewarded with a large repo, usually having Mark II or Mark III versions of skills. Now, we've been going through a lot of rooms, but let's talk about the enemies you've been seeing along the way. There's your basic ground units, typically called servants. Some tankier AI units called bruisers, which can come in an aggressive melee form or a shield bearing form, plus some flying enemies that are honestly a pain to try and hit. In later areas and sometimes in trials, you'll also fight some elite enemies. Now, partway through your run, you're going to hit a checkpoint that takes you to a hub called the Emporium. In here, you're going to be able to heal, trade health for currency, pick up some routines for your characters, and some other special pickups if you've unlocked them via permanent upgrades. After leaving the Emporium, you'll be back in the simulation you were at, and you will continue to go through areas until you finally reach the boss at the end of each area. And just like all the enemies, each boss has a different playstyle that you're going to have to adapt to. And just as a heads up, each one of them does have 3 health bars. Now, I've talked a lot about the gameplay of Morbid Metal, but let's talk about the story. And you have to remember that this game is still in early access, so the lore is not fully fleshed out. But from what's available and what you can pick up while going through your runs, and talking to one of the NPCs in the game, plus based off voice lines from the operator and Eden, you are essentially playing as the last AI tasked with destroying your own kind who have gone rogue. And while it's not super narrative heavy, at least for now, it does set a solid foundation for what's to come. So I first tried this game out back in 2025 in TwitchCon, and it immediately stood out to me as something that I wanted to play off camera, which as a content creator doesn't happen often. So again, I have to say huge thanks to Ubisoft for providing this early access version for me to try out. And it is an early access game, and it does show in a few areas. There were the occasional bugs throughout my runs, such as Eku just deciding not to jump at times, or even the time where Eku's special skill just decided not to activate. And while not completely game breaking, it is noticeable. Fortunately enough, shape-shifting fixed my issue, but I hate to think what might have happened if it was Flux having these issues, and I didn't have the shapeshift ability to help me fix this. One other thing I noticed was how badly the game set some of the respawns. If you fell off the map, sometimes you still had forward momentum from either holding W and shift, causing you to fall once more. And each time you fell, you did lose a chunk of health. And this next gripe I have with the game isn't necessarily something that will be an issue for everybody, but at least for content creators, it may be an issue. When I was running this game, I was running on a Ryzen 7 5800X, an RTX 3070 with 8GB of VRAM, and 60GB of regular RAM. And while running this game with OBS open, I had some constant crashes, freezes, and recording issues because of some of the loading screens. Now, to be fair, the game ran by itself just fine, and the issues only showed up specifically when I was either streaming or recording alongside it. But still, it's something to keep in mind if you're planning on creating content around this game. I'm really looking forward to the future potential of this game. Right now, there are 3 characters, but based off the UI, it really feels like there's a 4th one coming. And if that happens, it can change up the combat so much more for the better. So I definitely love to see something like maybe some more characters, and maybe even being able to customize team compositions, whether they eventually add a 4th option or just keep it as a trio. I think runs would definitely vary a lot and would increase the playability of this game even further. Even in early access, I genuinely enjoyed my time with Morbid Metal. It's fast, stylish, and has a really satisfying combat system once everything clicks. Yes, there's bugs. Yes, there's performance quirks that I ran into. And yes, there's not a lot of lore at the moment, but the core gameplay is strong. It's a really solid start, especially for a first release for the team at Screen Juice. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this evolves into full release. If you end up picking up Morbid Metal, or you've already played it, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And as always, stay safe, and thanks for watching.